Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to learn about how we can connect our React form with the control input. But first, let's learn about what is control input. So, if we go by a definition, control input is a situation where React takes care of your form data. It basically means that React stores the input data using state inside the component, which can make the accessibility and the syncing of React state with the whatever you type inside the form easily. And we can also understand it by using example where uh, example of a simple component called simple form. Here you can see different types of box: red, blue, yellow, and the brown one. So let's understand each box aim and what it signifies one by one. First box is a red box, which basically shows that how the states are defined inside the React component. Second is the yellow one, which shows that universal submit function, which is called whenever the form is submitted. It's going to perform some set of operation whenever the form is going to be submitted, which includes e.preventDefault and console.log. So these are the functions. Means prevent default is going to stop the browser to reloading the form again and again. For example, if user has filled the form and if he tries or by chance the form gets reload or browser get reload, then the form data will not be reset again. Then the second is console.log. You know what is the mean by console.log. It basically present whatever the type is given their name as name and email in the console of that environment. Now the third box is of blue type, which basically shows how we connect our input box value with the specified state. For example, as you can see inside the code, it is means the name input box is connected with the state name, as well as the email input box is connected with the state email. Now let's come on the fourth block box, which is onChange function. So what it signifies, how we can means it signifies that whatever the user is typing inside the input box is going to be changed inside the state as well. So for that we are calling the onChange function with the event e. So whenever this function is called, it will going to update the particular state value with the typed one inside the input box. So we are setting an email with the value as e.target.value. So these are the main four steps we need to take care while defining our control states inside the React component. So in the last video, you have seen that we have created a React form in the React by using the HTML concepts like input box, radio buttons, checkbox, file upload, and the text box buttons, etc. So in this video, what we are going to do, first we are going to define the control input for each of the value, and then we also define some set of universal functions such as onChange function and the functions for reset button and submit button, so that whenever the reset is clicked, the form data going to be empty again, and whenever the submit button is clicked, then the form is submitted, means it will show the data in either alert or in the console.log. So for that, first uh, we are going to define the states using constant. We can call it as form data is equal to using the use state from React. We will learn about what is use state and means what are the types of functions it is or why it is used. It is basically type of a hook which helps the React component to perform the action much easier or means access the state much easier. So inside it, we will define first name, first name as empty string. Then, oh sorry, first name as empty string. Then we define the last name again as empty string in the key value pairs. for every input. Then second thing is our uh, email with empty value. Then fourth, contact. So we can define it as a number with a value as mm, 0, because the contact is of a type of integer. So we cannot define it as a string here in the form data. Now let's come on the next is gender type. So for that, so there is some mismatch. We will define our number as string as well, because inside our input box it is defined as a type of number. Now another one is for the gender, where whatever the value is selected will be put it inside the gender key. Now we are after the gender we have subject, but in subject you can see that we have multiple values to select. So in for the subject we will define it as a key value pair of basically each type as false in a boolean type, so that whatever value is selected we can make it as true. So first value is English for their, which will define it as false. Then for math as well, we will define it as false. And then for physics we will define it as false. So and whenever user select any of the value, we will make it as true inside the state as well, so that the user input can be collected easily in the control. Now the next after the subject we have a state as upload resume. So for that upload resume, so for the upload resume, user going to upload the file. So we need to define it as uh, key as resume as a type of null, so that whenever user upload any file, it will be stored in the state easily. Now the next is URL. For URL, we will define it as a value as a string. Then next is highest qualification. So for the qualification, we will also define a key value pair as a string. So whatever the high qualification is selected from the drop down is put it inside the state, means it can be stored inside the state as well. Now the next is about section. So whenever user type anything, it will also stored in the form of key value pair. So that's how we have created our states for the input box. Now one by one we will connect with our state as well. So this is the form in React heading. We don't need to connect it. Now the first is input box type of first name. Here we can define as name as first name. Wait a minute. So we can define it as name as first name, same as it is defined inside the state, and its value as we also need to define the value, so that whenever anything is present inside the first name in the state, it will also show the user inside IRST. Wait a minute. So here first name, and also we need to define the value as first name, which is of form data state. So first the name of state, which is form data, and its particular key, and key is of first name. So if we put it as first name, I think I make a spelling mistake here. It should be FIRST, and also here it should be FIRST as first name. Now our input state is connected with the state value. Means define form data state. Same thing we will do in the second state, which is last name. So first we need to define the name as last name, same as defined inside the form data state. Then its value, so that it will show whatever it is present inside the last name in the form data in the form itself. So form data dot last name is last name. So that value means this input box value is connected with the state itself. Now the third type we doing the same here, which is of email type. So first name as email, then sorry, not comma, then the value as email. Sorry, it should be form data dot email. And same thing we need to do in everything, everywhere inside the input box. So copy them and paste it one by one and change everything accordingly. So for contact, I think we have defined it as a number inside the form. So number form data dot number. Now if we come to the gender section here, wait a second. So in the gender option, you can see we have defined the different labels for male, female, and other. Rather defining the different, basically different labels, we can define it as a single label by using the map function. So we will define a particular array of type male, female, and other. Using the map function, we will iterate over it, and we as define the map function. Now we need to define a key which will going to be iterate. So we will define it as option. With the help of it, we going to iterate over it, inside which we can define our one of the label called label with form label value, and we can delete that HTML for. And here we need to define the specific key which is of type option label of type option. Label we have defined, there is class name as option label. So inside it, we can define a input box with type as these are the radio buttons, and also we can define their uh, name as option, and their value is also as option. Value is option now, but we are going to set the value only on when the selected value is same as the given option. There is a mistake there which I have done. The name should be gender type, which is defined inside the form. It should be name as gender, value as option, but we need to put the value as gender only when the selected value is same as the option. So inside for which we can do for which we can do the form data means selected value from the form data dot gender is same as the selected option from the upper defined list here. This is the list. If the selected value from this is same as the form data dot gender, then define means changes value as option. Now after checked option, we can make it as required as well, so that user can will not go forward without filling it required option here. Now after the input button, we can define the particular uh, option value here. So if I submit it and refresh the page as well, you can see I think the form is not running. Let me run it again. And if I reload this form, you can see I think there is some mistake. Wait a minute. Yeah, I find a mistake that of is a parenthesis. We don't need to put curly braces here. We just need to put round braces. So only around braces and put it the code. Yeah, your values are now will be seen here. So what have we have changed now? Putting rather than more again and again label option, we have put it a one label operation of label block label element, and we using the map function in the React, we displayed multiple value as male, female, and other, and we connected our input state with the name as gender and value as option. But we will check before the selected value is same as the selected value from the form data gender, because in the form data gender you can see we have defined our subject, to nothing. No, this is not related, but first we need to check whether about defined form data gender is same as the selected operation option, then change the value. We will define the on change operation again, and here by using the curly braces option we displayed the different value. Now we came to the form. Next, now the term is for the subject input state. Here we are defining again, defining more than one label option for English, maths, and physics. Rather than defining for means more than one, we can define it by using the map function only once. So first we going to apply the map function, but it going to be applied over the object, which is object dot keys of form data dot subject. But inside the form data, if you see, we have defined our subject keys as string. This now needs to be defined as string. We can define it as a simple value without string. So just make sure you define it as without a string. Then inside the object dot is form data dot subject, we will define the map function on it. Map using the subject. Here we will use the arrow function, again parenthesis, but I think there is some mistake. Wait a second. Yeah, there is a mistake that this needs to be inside the curly braces, because we are putting we are extracting values from the state, and do this also form data dot subject. No need to put it inside the curly braces. Only a braces should be fine. Now, if subject now the curly braces, we can define the label function here with option as label, class name as option label, and for label also we can define the particular. So for option we have we need to give a key which is necessary inside the map function in the React. If you don't know what is key and what is the map function in the React, please go and watch my React video, one shot. So we need to give the key as sub. Inside the label we can define our first input box with type as checkbox, because these are of checkbox type, and value as the sub, but their name should be same as the subject which is shown there, I think. Wait a second, let me clarify. Name value as sub, name as also sub, but name is also going to be defined as sub. By because we are extracting the values from object keys of form data subject, because inside the form data subject the keys are defined as same as English, maths, and physics. But inside the input box we are going to put the value only once it is checked. So first we need to check and which value going to be updated there, means whatever the user selects from the form, either it is English, maths, or physics, its particular key going to be make it as true. So we will make it the form data dot subject. So it form data square bracket subject. What will it do? It will basically extract that key from the form data from form data state and make its value as true. And also after that we can make it as required. So user will not go forward without submitting it. I think there isn't some error. Let me refresh it. Why it not coming? So in that case, I find a mistake that while defining the state, we should define it as a array form date. Sorry, form data and set form data so that React give the state as in the form of states form data and React form data. Now you can see in the UI our values are displayed. We are displaying by using the uh, map operation in the React. Now let's come to the next field, which is upload resume. So upload resume is basically accepting a file, so we can define a name field as resume, which is sorry, it should be of a strict type, which is same as defined in the form data field. Now if we come to the next state, which is URL. So in URL, user going to put the URL. So first we need to define the name as URL, then its value should be same as the form data dot URL. For all of the state on change function, we will define after this, after connecting each state with the defined input field. Now we have the basically highest qualification sector in which we are going to select a particular value from the drop down. So for the highest qualification, again we need to define the name and value. So name should be uh, qualification, and sorry, the value should be same as the form data dot qualification. Now this has been submitted. For the onChange function, we will define it. Now come to the about section. So whatever the user going to put inside the about section, it's going to be submitted, stored in the form data state. So first it's same as other name as about, and its value should be same as form data dot value. Not a value, it should be about. Now we are going to define the onChange function so that whenever any value changes inside any of the input field, it should also reflect in the state as well. So constant handle change. It should name be handle change with the event A, which is coming from the particular event which is changed, which has been changed. Then the function here. So here first we need to extract all of the values from the event A. Either you also like in all of the field we are basically extracting the name and value. So whatever the field has changed, particularly its name and what value it has been inside it has been changed and its value. So first we are going to extract the name, means which field has been changed, and with value, with which value it has been changed. Also you can see inside our gender and also favorite subject, we are selecting multiple fields, and also in the file resume option we are uploading the file, so we also need to define the for that we need to extract which type is selected from the gender, either it is male, female or other, and from the subject operation which option is checked, so we make it as checked. And and for the file operation, for the file we are just defining a file, means extracting the file from the e dot target e dot target, because e dot target dot value basically holds the particular value, but if we extract any of multiple values inside the state, then we can process it easily. Now we can define multiple if conditions to uh, update a particular field. So first we are going to check means going to update our state, which is going to be means which of the option is selected. So for that we going to check whether our type is checked or not. So for that, we basically going to check whether our type is checkbox or not. If our type is, sorry, the spelling mistake. If the type is checkbox in going, if the type is checkbox, then inside that we going to use a set form data for which we going to use the spread operators. So we going to use the spread operators for which we need to define the previous using the arrow function. Then this. So you know about what is spread operator. If you don't know about the spread operator, please watch my React one shot video in which I have defined. For those who don't know, spread operator is basically used to store all of the previous defined data in the state with the new data as well. So here we have stored the previous spread, use the spread operator. In the previous, it will store all the previous data. Now we need to update the particular field. So the particular subject going to be, so first it going to store all the previous subjects. So it should be previous dot. It going to copy all the previous subjects, means whatever the value the subject holds. But then I think there is some error maybe. Yeah, it is previous is a spread operator, so we need to define three states and no need to define these. So first is going to store all of the previous subject with their values, and then it will also check for if there is any update. So name for a particular value, if there is update, then update it with the check value as checked. It should be, I think, yeah. So what the first line do, it basically store all the previous states value. If the English is false, physics is true, then it will store in the same fashion. But then in the second line, it is also checking for the update. If any of the field from the subject is has been updated, means if the English is make English selected, then it will make the English field as true and then false. So in the first line, we are copying all the states, and in the second line, we are basically checking for the update in any of the state. Now we check for the if condition. Now the second is if else condition. Else if condition, inside which we will check if the type is a file. If it is our file type, means also if you notice that I have put it two arrows, which is not correct in the JavaScript because React is using the JavaScript. So you need to put the three arrows equal for comparing. So if the type is of file, then again we need to do the set form data, update our form data using the spread operators. And so inside which first we use the spread operator, whatever the file has been uploaded earlier, store that and check for the new file. If the name is equal to, if new file has been uploaded, new file has been up. So then it will check for the new files, which is file dot, which is stored in the file here in the state which we have accessing from the dot target value. So name will be name is equal to file dot zero. So first it will store all the previous file which is uploaded earlier. Then it will store the name as file. Means if any new file has been uploaded or not. Then another else if condition, if the selected type is of contact, then inside which we again going to set form data, means we going to update our form data with using the spread operators. Then whatever the number is written already there, load it and check it. Sorry, wait a second, I think there is mistake. Yeah, mistake of arrow. So first we need to store all of the previous data. Then if any of the new data is submitted, then update it with our data, update it with our particular value. But there is some hack here in the form. You can see we are storing our number as contact number as a type of number, so it is in the form of digits, not in a form of strings. So we need to put a condition here. If our contact, wait a second. So first we are going to transform the number into value. If the number is, means if our value is empty, then take it as empty string. Otherwise, transform its type into a number, then it will store in the form of number. So this how that's how we are going to update our contact as well. Now the last condition is else, because we have check our everything, every condition for the checkbox, file and contact section. Now the last condition is for number and value, means input box condition. So we are again going to update our form with the input as previous by using the spread operators, curly braces. Then first we are going to store our previous form data. Wait a second, or again some error I think I did, yeah, of parenthesis. Then first spread operator is whatever value is given here, it will going to update, and if anything is changed there, then update that value also with the name and value respectively. So that's how we have considered every condition, every of the condition. Now we can minimize this function and we can connect every state with the handle chain. So first state is of our first name. So here we can, after the value, we can define the onChange function, and onChange function on onChange we can call our handle change. Means whatever is going to be written inside our first name, it will going to update in the form data state as well. Same we can do in the uh, last name input box, and in the email input box, because every state is going to be updated by input box, so they will take care of only of the else condition as name and is equal to value. Now for the gender we can also do the same, but after the check operation here, handle change in the checkbox operation also we can update it after. Here also we can make the input button as required. We have not make the checkbox button as required. Update resume also there. After name you can apply the change as on change. Means if any of the file is uploaded in the upload resume section, it will going to be inside the handle change function, where it will update the particular state inside the form data, particular key, sorry, inside the form data state. Same we can do in the URL section, updating on change is equal to handle change, and inside the highest qualification as well. Means if any of the values selected, then it will update in the section, and same we can do in the about section. Now you can see that we have connected our form data state with the form, but we have not defined any operation from the reset button and submit button. Let's define that also. So first is the const reset, sorry, it should be in camel case, reset form data. So reset form data in, so on resetting we can set form data to a new value, means copy everything from the set form data with every new values. So it will, oh I did a mistake here. We need, while defining a function we need to define it as a arrow function. These simple functions are not accepted here. So with arrow event e, or we can will, if you not want to give the event e, just simply a parenthesis, then simple parenthesis curly braces, and here you can define set form data to a particular value. Wait, let me, what is the error now? Also, yeah, now whenever we can connect this function with our reset button. So inside button group, here is our reset button. So whenever it is clicked on click operation, call the reset form data operation. Same we in the same fashion we can define our function for the mm, submit button. So submit form data. So whenever form is submitted, in that case the form data is filled. So first we will show the alert that your give the alert to the user that your form data is submitted. Your form data is with the form data dot form data value. Yeah, this is wrong. Our form data is small caps. So it will show the user as alert with his form data. But there one we need do one more thing. We need to pass the event as a as an event inside the submit form data. So whenever to stop the delegation, prevent default, we need to stop the prevent default operation here. Let me check. Yeah, e dot prevent default, which will basically help the user to update the form by mistakenly, means which will stop the form to reset its value mistakenly. So we have defined the submit form data. So now we can define it below of the button here, means whenever it is clicked. So we need to define the on click operation. For that we can define the submit form data button as well. Now we have connected our state as well. For example, let me, yeah, so if I am filling any details such as Keshav Maharaj, which is filled earlier, but why, wait a second. One more change in the submit form data, rather than displaying the form in alert, we can display the form in console, because it is easier to displaying in console rather than here. So console.log for your form data, in form data whatever it is typed. Now in the alert we can give the message as your form data has been submitted. um, Check your browser console to see the data. So that's how we can give. So now our form data is ready. We can go on the browser and can perform every action. First we will define some values. Krish Nagar with email as krish@gmail.com. Some uh, just as a user details, contact number, something. It's a mail type. Its favorite subjects are all of three, maths and physics. Let's choose its resume as some file as affidavit. URL www.krishnagar.com. Highest qualification is undergraduate. About he is BTech student. He is a BTech student. Just for an example. So if we submit it, then you can see you get a alert message as that your form data has been submitted. Check your browser console. So if you make it okay and go on the browser console, inspect, drag it much more there, or if you click on the plus operation and go on the console, now you can see there is one object is created which has the same details as you filled inside the form. About section, about he is the BTech student, email krish at the gmail.com, first name krish, male, gender, last name Nagor, number, graduation, qualification, resume file selected, subject, and the URL same. But one thing you can see that whenever you have submitted the form, it is submitting and storing the value in our console.log, but it is not refreshing, or it is not making our form empty so that user can fill it next time. So for that case, inside our submit form data, we can, after giving the alert message, we can call our reset function, so that whenever the form is submitted, uh, it will make the form empty again, so that means to make the form reset again. So if I submit it, when I click OK, you can see now the form has been submit empty. So if I fill it again with different different entries now, such as Susan, uh, Nagoria, and email as Susan at the rate gmail.com, contact number as something, she's female, his favorite subjects are maths and physics only, not English. Let's choose an resume form, URL www.susan.com. Highest qualification is postgraduate. About section, she is a software developer. So if I'm going to reset the form, I think according to the functionality, the form should be empty. Let's test it. Yeah, you can see the form is empty now. So that's how you can build a functionality or can connect your form in React with the control input. In this video, I tried my best to explain what are the control input, how we can connect our control input with the React states, and how we can create function for the buttons such as reset and submit, so that on clicking our respective one, our form should get reset as well as submitted. When we are building our backend APIs, in that case, then on submit button we will call our backend function, means a API function which is connected with the backend API and submitted our data to the backend server. For now, this is fine for you, and you can learn it more in the future. Hope you like the video, and if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends who ever need it. Thank you for watching.